FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell visited Puerto Rico to learn firsthand how reconstruction is going after the devastating passages of Hurricanes Irma and Maria in September of 2017, as well as the earthquakes of 2020. Francis Felix has more on those efforts.
FEMA Administrator Diane Criswell visited Puerto Rico this week and held meetings with several officials and the agency's local team as part of the events leading up to the commemoration of the 5-year mark of Hurricane Maria. The administrator's agenda focused on the achievement of over 10,000 obligated projects and the mitigation opportunities available in the reconstruction progress. This trip marks Criswell's second visit to Puerto Rico since taking office as FEMA Administrator in 2021. During her meeting with Governor Pedro Pierluisi and Federal Disaster Recovery Coordinator Jose Vaquero, the officials reviewed the stages in which various reconstruction projects are under the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program and the expediting of funds to rebuild critical infrastructure through FEMA's Accelerated Awards Strategy, a pilot initiative that began in Puerto Rico.
The relationship we have developed with FEMA since my administration took office last year has resulted in clear and constant advances in Puerto Rico's recovery for the benefit of our people. We have had a constant communication and full collaboration, working together as a team towards a more agile reconstruction. In fact, most, if not all, of the requests we have made to FEMA have been granted.
For his part, the administrator also reaffirmed her and the agency's commitment to the projects that are pending an allocation of funds. She recognized that the speed of the project is not perceived.
However, we recognize the concern that recovery may not seem like it's moving fast enough 5 years later. But I can tell you here, the work has never stopped, and it won't stop. The recovery, it is ongoing. Our focus has been on providing initial grant funding, emergency funding, to make sure that we could have temporary repairs to keep the country or the Commonwealth moving, and helping the Commonwealth determine what a long-term recovery plan should be, and now the resources are in place to help implement these projects.
As of today, the island has over $126 million in mitigation funds, a tool that also supports the work of the municipalities during an emergency.
And building back the island to be even more resilient than before. As we work to define and scope the projects that are going to be rebuilding, we want to make sure that we take the time to ensure that they are going to be stronger, that they are going to be more resilient against the future threats that we are going to face.
Following the passage of Hurricane Maria, FEMA has allocated more than $41 billion in recovery funds to Puerto Rico, in addition to the more than $50 billion disbursed in individual public assistance, among other programs that address emergencies under the Federal Statford Act. Reporting from San Juan, Puerto Rico, Francis Felix.
The Turks and Caicos is dealing with a spike in immigration fraud, so leaders are working with Jamaica to help combat the issue. Our One Caribbean News' DeAndre Hamilton explains.
Fraud is becoming a cause for concern in the Turks and Caicos Islands, especially documents submitted for work permit applications. It is for this reason that the Minister of Immigration, Arlington Musgrove, has announced that the TCI will be collaborating with Jamaica to help in detecting fraudulent documents.
Without going into details, there are a number of measures that Mr. Winter and his team has in place to validate documents, which I will not disclose at this point in time. And yet, they were achieving 80% delivery of responses within 3 working days. This is a significant achievement, especially as we seek to improve our service delivery in the Department of Visa and Immigration.
In addition, to better protect the border of the TCI and crack down on the transnational shipment of guns and other illegal goods, Minister Musgrove mentioned that his ministry is looking to enter into an MOU with Jamaica and the Bahamas to improve the country's land security.
Understanding of the movement of transnational shipment of guns, drugs, and other undesirable goods, I think it's important for us to understand the role the Jamaican government plays, just to its global position in the region. So we will be seeking to commence discussion to enter into MOU with the Bahamas on this matter.
The immigration minister noted that his ministry will be mirroring Jamaica's asylum management process to be better able to protect its staff.
They have established an eligibility committee who assists in the decision making, the safety of staff. In our line of business, there's always danger and risk to staff. So we got ideas on how we can better protect our staff.
DeAndre Hamilton reporting.
The cabinet in Grenada has overturned a decision that's prevented residents studying law and medicine at the University of West Indies from getting economic cost assistance. It's been in effect for the past 8 years, and Minister of Education Senator David Andrew announced on Tuesday that the support is now available to prospective and current students at all UWI campuses. He said the prohibition, which had been in effect from 2014, had deprived some students simply because of their program of choice. Andrew said that will no longer be the case.
There's no real reason to deprive our citizens from enjoying economic cost when there is, if I'm not mistaken, it's a $3 million fee that's paid, I probably can be corrected, to the University of the West Indies annually because we're supporting territories to the university. So all of our students should, in fact, as many as possible, be encouraged to benefit from that because it's part of the agreement. So there's no real reason, in my opinion, to debar anybody except you feel that program is detrimental. And I don't see how that's likely to happen quite easily.
Minister Andrew also announced that dozens of scholarships have been awarded to students to complete studies at the UWI.
The cabinet did approve a listing of, I'm subject to correction, but close to 16 or 17 awards for the master's level and close to 42 at the bachelor's level. And that was recently approved by the cabinet. So for those of you who did apply, feel comfortable that you met the criteria, that you have been successful.
In other news, a new set of COVID-19 boosters have been approved by the FDA. The updated boosters from Moderna and Pfizer are designed to target the Omicron subvariant. This is the first time the FDA has authorized an updated vaccine formula since the original shots were rolled out in 2020. The U.S. has purchased 171 million doses of the new vaccines, which still have to be approved by the CDC. Queen Elizabeth will remain in Scotland, where she's taking her summer break to receive Britain's outgoing Prime Minister Boris Johnson and his successor next week. The 96-year-old monarch traditionally holds audiences with outgoing and incoming prime ministers at Buckingham Palace, which is her official London residence. But Johnson will travel to the Queen's summer holiday home in the Scottish Highlands to formally tender his resignation on Tuesday. His replacement, two finalists in the Conservative Party leadership race, will also make the trip on the same day. The Queen has been having mobility problems, and she canceled some engagements in recent months. The Queen has been served by 14 prime ministers during her reign. Johnson announced his resignation in early July, and his Conservative Party is set to announce his successor next Monday.